Okay, I'm now going to look at the formula, basically rearranging. Now there's two types you can have. One where the subject appears once, as in that's the letter you want on its own, only appears once, and the other one is when it appears more than once. So have a look at these here. The letter in the bracket is what I want to be in its own. So I want the A to be on its own in this one here. So if I write it out down beneath here, I'll just expand those brackets at the same time. So it's 3m minus 3a equals b minus 2m. You want the a to be on its own, so I would bring this positive 3m over here and it becomes a negative 3m. I would tidy up those m's. Minus 3a equals b minus 5m. Change all signs, because you've got a negative letter there that you don't want, and divide by 3. So it's just like solving equations. Part B, I have got t plus f over b, t equals f over b, and I want the b to be on its own. Now that causes a problem because the b's in the bottom. You must bring it up to the other side, so it's tb equals f. Now you can rearrange it easily, f over t. Part C, I want the b to be on its own. It's quite a complicated one. So I'll write it out down here. P equals q over a plus b minus 4p. Now that fraction makes this more complicated. But before I bite away at that fraction, I must make sure I get everything that's not a fraction over there, the other side. So that goes to be adding. So it's 5p equals q over a plus b. The question wants b on its own. Now I'm going to bring this up to our side. Because there's more than one term in it, I would put brackets around it. Now I'm looking to get the b on its own. You could at this stage just bring that 5p over and divide to save multiplying out those brackets. That will work well in this case. You want the b on its own, so bring that positive a over. Remember that negative is with the b. So you have negative b equals q over 5p minus a. And now to get your b on its own, just change all signs. And make sure you've got a fraction, you only put the 1 sign in front of it. Because if you change the top and the bottom, you have just cancelled out your change, which you don't want to do. Now, next one I've got here is part D. Let's pop it in here. It's x, the cube root of t equals p. And I want t to be on its own. Before I get in at this cube root, you must bring that over and that becomes dividing. So it's the cube root of t equals p over x. Now getting rid of a cube root, opposite of cube root is to cube everything. So it's p cubed over x cubed. And the last one I have in this section, n equals m over root a. And I want the a to be on its own. A is in the bottom, which causes a problem, so bring it up to the other side. It's dividing, so you bring it up, it becomes multiplying. And bring your n over. Now you want to get rid of the root. Opposite of square root is to square. So it's m squared over n squared. That's that one finished. Now, in the next wee section here is when the subject appears more than once. And what you do is you put the subject on one side and factorise. So have we look at these examples here. If you look at A, I want y to be the subject. So I'll write it out first of all. 6y minus 7 equals py minus 9. Because I want y to be the subject, everything that's a y goes on one side. So 6y minus py equals, and anything that's not a y goes on the other side, plus 7. Then you factorise out your y. Just pull your y out of that, tidy that up, and then bring your bracket over and it becomes dividing. And that's the first one done. Part B. I have for part B, x equals 100, b minus y over y. And I want y to be on its own. Now the first problem is, you've got the y in the bottom of the fraction, so bring that across to get that out of the road. And you've got 100, b minus y. I would multiply out those brackets because you're trying to get these y's together. Now I can put anything that's a y over here. So xy plus 100y equals 100b. Pull your y out. X plus 100 equals 100b. And then bring your bracket over and divide. 100b over x plus 100. Now, part C is a more complicated fraction one. So you have a equals y plus m over y minus m. Fraction, bring that over first of all. Put brackets around it there because there's more than one term. And I would be inclined to multiply out those brackets before I go any further. Now the question says it wants y on its own. So all y's go on one side, and anything that's not a y goes on the other side. So minus y, m plus an. Then you pull your y out, so a minus 1 equals m plus an, and then bring your bracket over and divide. And part D for the final one of this wee section. F minus gx equals x, g minus h plus kx. And you want the x to be on its own. First of all, multiply out this bracket to make it look a little easier. So xg minus x h plus kx. And I want all the x's to be on the one side. So most of my x's are on this side, so if I just bring this over here, that will help. So f equals xy minus xh plus kx plus gx. I'm just checking there, is anything simplified down? No. So pull your x out of each, y minus h plus k plus g, then bring that bracket across and divide. Y minus h plus k plus g equals x.